Hey, everybody, welcome to Buzzing About Romance. I am Becky, and joining me for this episode is Jenny. Hi, Jenny.
Hey, Becky.
And Amanda. Hello, Amanda.
Hello.
And making a triumphant return after many weeks away. I don't know how many weeks it's been. Lindsey. Hi, Lindsey.
Hi.
We actually sat her down in a chair and said, hey, you just need to come on so people don't think that we've, booted you off the island.
I was like, I haven't been reading. Well, it's not that I haven't been reading as much, but I don't have like a lot of fresh recs. Like, I haven't really been loving most of what I've read. So I was like, I have nothing new to recommend. And Becky was like, just come anyway. And I was like, okay, fine, I'm here.
I don't know that any of us, isn't that funny? Because I think all of us are kind of in a little bit of a struggle reading wise right now.
I don't think it's so much struggle reading wise. It's finding extra time outside of the million arcs I signed up for that don't necessarily fall into the, topic of what we've been talking about. So it's kind of like I tried to read, some new stuff, but it's just been a time thing really.
Yeah. No, I'm slumping and it's harder to read. I mean, I have been really busy with work and with agency and that kind of stuff, but uh, some things are hitting and other things aren't hitting. Um, but I'm trying and I'm looking forward to the summer. I'm really excited to kind of, with us taking the Wednesdays off for a couple weeks, I feel like maybe I'll have feel like I have more time to read. Probably not, but um so before we get into our topic, holy crap, I think the book world said, "Here, hold my beer," in the last 3 days.
Yes.
Um Everything went a little bonkers. So, real quick, I posted over on Threads about Bloom's latest little scuffle. I don't know what to call it
I
anymore.
don't even know what it is anymore. It's like their PR strategy.
Yeah. So there was another podcast out there, and actually, Lori from What to Read Next podcast, she and I, sometime in the next week or two, are going to do a Substack podcast together on her channel, and I'll be over there. And we're going to talk about it because what it is the author's name is Tink. She is an influencer, and it's spelled Tinx, is her influencer name. And she got spotlighted, picked up by Bloom to write a book. It's a lesbian sapphic romance that takes place, like a summer romance, takes place in the Hamptons. At first, many people were saying, "Oh, we didn't know you were queer." And I'm not saying that you should have to be outed to write a queer story. I think that, you know, we have read queer stories by straight presenting women and they've done well with it. It's been lovely. I'm not saying any of that. But she was real cagey about stuff. It was thought that this book might have been inspired by another influencer who is a writer, who is queer, who also is a ghostwriter. And she kept saying, no, I didn't use a ghostwriter to write the book. But then in her acknowledgments, because the ghostwriter is actually a well-known fanfic of queer fanfic, and the words sounded like her words. And so, but she acknowledges the ghostwriter by name in the book.
Yeah, she uses the word collaborate.
Yeah. So that's kind of happening. We don't really know how it's gonna pan out. I will say, on a traditional publishing scope, a ghostwriter is not unusual, especially for sometimes publishing will buy a book for a name. And then other times they'll buy a book because of an influence and a follow, and you read the book and you think, oh, that person wrote that book themselves. And I'm thinking of the Lexi LaFleur hockey romance that Canary Street recently published. She got that. She's a hockey wife. Her husband's a former professional hockey player. She blew up kind of across social media a little bit during that Seattle Kraken hubbub. And she kind of gave some wife influencer type stuff across her TikToks. She got a deal at Canary Street to write the book, but she didn't use a ghostwriter because that book is bad.
Yeah, that's you. I didn't read it because you said that too.
Yeah. And I'm not the only one who said that either. So, and Jen Ellen is saying that Kelly Reynolds, who is a romance author, talks about being a ghostwriter. Yes, that's how she paid her bills for a very long time, was as a ghostwriter. So it's not unusual to have ghostwriters. It's not in TradPub. Go ahead.
Yeah, the whole thing too with the influencers, like I've seen that there was an outdoor influencer who like grew her platform, and then she basically like to promote her book like switched from like her outdoor influencer lifestyle to just like promoting her book, and the only way to like actually get content from her was her books, and I think she's like on her third book now. And like it's that way since she got her book deal, and I think her books have been doing really well. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I've seen that like in other industries too, where like they're picking up influencers with big followings.
Yeah. Well, it's no different. So if we look at Brené Brown, she had a self-help blog and an advice blog. They picked her up, gave her books. Now she writes self-help books. We see it with TikTokers like Mama Cusses. She actually does have a degree, I think, in child development or child psychology, and she's a big proponent of gentle parenting, and that's what she built her whole platform on. And hey, guess what? Somebody gave her a book deal. And there's lots of those that, how many cookbooks?
Yeah.
I love Dylan on TikTok. Does anybody watch Dylan? He does all the old recipes. He's on his second cookbook. So celebrities, influencers, Martha Stewart, guys, she got a whole magazine. And Kmart linens. Like, she was a lady. And all she did was garden and, throw dinner parties. I'm just saying,
And trade inside.
Well, nothing worse than Marjorie Taylor Greene's done.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if everyone went to prison for that.
So
People should go to prison for their bad behavior.
right? Wouldn't that be nice?
Don't get me started today.
So influencers, celebrity people with a following getting some kind of book deal, that's not unusual. Having a ghostwriter write it for them, not unusual. I think that the question comes into this is because we have seen so many problems with the different authors coming out of Bloom. They picked up Tilly Cole, they picked up,
the time too going into like the summer, like this summer there's a ton of sapphic romances coming out too, so like to give an influencer a platform when there's so many other authors coming out with good books, and like that, I guess, like female romance hasn't really had its moment, not really, and it's really taking off this summer, and then for that kind of situation to play out with an influencer, it's a little tone deaf.
Well, she is not open about how the book comes off. It is labeled as LGBTQ like on the shelves, but like when people directly ask her, she says it's a summer fling with a girl and some people, and then somebody will be like, and another girl, and she's like, and some people.
So it's not even really a romance.
I don't think it is. I think it probably doesn't even have an HEN.
Well, and
HFN. And
I will say Bloom has definitely produced some books that are not romances. The last Be Celeste book, it isn't a romance. It doesn't even have an HFN. It's women's fiction. And she took a lot of heat over across threads and TikTok and all the social media, calling her out saying, you want romance money, but you're not writing a romance. She's like, I don't have the power to market the book. That's the publisher. And so again, her publisher is Bloom. Bloom's not making some great choices. So it'll be interesting to see how this unfolds. I don't feel like torturing myself, so I'm not going to try to get an advance copy of it.
I don't think, like, it's literally about like mid-20s influencer that gets canceled. So she goes to the Hamptons for the summer. And basically she lives a Hampton lifestyle. Like,
It does not
Sounds like a
sound-
summer of exploration,
Well,
right? Kind
but-
of thing.
exactly. And some people were like, well, you probably got that from your own experience. And she doesn't like confirm or deny that. But if you look at her audience, like those are the people that are going to the Hamptons for the summer. Like she's definitely writing to her audience.
You mean we're not going to
we
the
are not her
Hamptons for the
audience.
summer? We're not even going to the Yucky Lake for the summer. And
Nope.
it's just down the road. Also, in other news this weekend, and I'm only going to briefly talk about this because we want to talk about what our topic is tonight. There was a signing this weekend in Baltimore, Maryland, called A Million Lives. And it is blowing up across Threads and TikTok. And here's what I'm going to say to people. If you are planning to going to a signing, and even if you've already purchased a ticket, it is not too late to resell your ticket or to take the loss, but do the research. Ask questions. You know, we have seen from Gretchen's point of view that a lot of these book signings are not thinking about accessibility for people that are mobile device users or need companions or anything like that. So a lot of these book events, people should just not be doing it. You know, across social media, it is blowing up today. So if you see that stuff, I encourage you to try to figure out who the authors were that were there. The organizers are blaming the venue for losing books that were shipped, except they kept telling people they could have up to 1,000 participants. They sold somewhere between 500 to 600 tickets. There were 50 people there.
Yeah.
With like 200 authors. The narrator panel was literally on the floor in a room that, like, they didn't even have chairs. The narrator sat on the floor and the people sat on the floor. And then they showed this ball that was a $250 extra ticket to go to this fantasy ball. It was a cement room with like metal rafters and tables.
Yeah.
So anyway, I encourage you to look at the people that are organizing the event. And even some of the more established events are struggling to grow, you know, because they had a lot of years off. You know, they didn't have events in 2020 or 2021. And even events like HEA Readers event that's in Indianapolis. So they had one 2 years ago. They have another, they're going to have their second one in June, and then that's their last one. It's just too much work and time commitment and money, and it's just not feasible for them to keep doing it.
It's a massive time commitment from readers too, for them to be questionable. Like I would think, like for me to be able to go to an event, I would need multiple years and a really solid reputation for the event, and like somebody in our community having gone and had a positive experience.
Yeah.
And like trustworthy leadership. And a lot of these events are murky leadership. It's very like grassroots style effort. It's very poorly communicated, very thrown together. And you know, like the capacity limits are concerning too. Like a lot of readers are introverted, and I had the time of my life last year in Kentucky. Don't get me wrong, but if we were going to one that's like a huge event in a massive convention center, I don't think I would have fun. Like it's overwhelming.
Yeah. Well, Jenni and we've gone to Columbus 2 years now.
Yep.
And it definitely feels grassroots. Little less than the first year we went. It felt like a craft show that sold books.
Yeah, it was close quarters.
It was close quarters, not real well thought out. Last year it was more spaced out, but we're going back to a hotel ballroom and out of a conference center. But we simply go for the signing session. We don't go for the panels or the other events. Um, and really for us, Jenni, I think it's just more about the fact that we get to come home and have margaritas on the deck afterwards.
Yeah, I was like, it's just an excuse for adult time because I didn't even look at, I don't even know who's there, and that's like next month.
Carrie and Ryan and Rebecca Sharp are there. And that's like, I think the only reason Leah was like, yeah, I'll go again. So, yeah. So do your homework on signings. That's all we're going to talk about that. I'm sure we talked about after we did our State of the Book World episode that we probably need a part 2. So maybe we'll do that towards the end of June. Give the dust a chance to settle, right? And so, and here over in the YouTube chat, Egg says, I wish more would just do signings and not all the panels and parties. And actually, I encourage you to look for bookstore signings. Those have been our best experiences. We went to Cincinnati in February.
Yes.
It was great. I mean, we stood in line quite a bit, but we were simply there for to meet the authors we wanted to meet. But if you have like a Barnes and Noble in your area, especially now because publishers are sending our romance authors on tours. So, you might get lucky and come across a signing in your area, or within, a little drive.
Right. And usually the ticket is the book. Like you buy a book or two.
Yeah.
So
that's all it was for Cincinnati. We just had to buy at least one book and you could carry in 3.
Right.
So it made it a little bit more feasible. But none of this is our topic for tonight. None of it. Egg is Jenna. Hi, Jenna. I didn't know who it was, so I was like, let's not make them mad.
Her kids probably
I was
signed
like,
it.
I think I know who that. I was like, I think it's somebody that's normally in here, but I couldn't remember.
Yeah,
it was Jenna. So
it's Jenna. Okay, so on this episode of Buzzing About Romance, we are cranking the volume one more time. It is time for us to give our Rockstars an encore. This week, we're taking an encore look at all the Rockstar romances and authors we didn't get to spotlight during our April Sip and Discuss series. From broody bandmates and sexy solo acts to backstage drama and tour bus tension, we live for this. This episode is your all-access pass to the hidden gems, underrated reads, and must-know authors in the Rockstar romance world. So grab your front row seat, because this show isn't over yet. I wonder how many more Rockstar puns I could get in there.
I was like, turn it up to 11.
Turn it to 11. Okay, so I do think now the majority of us, and Lindsey, are you a big Rockstar romance reader? I mean, you'll read anything. Lindsey, we like, hey, Lindsey, read this. And you're like, yes, I'll read this. Do you read
Yeah,
Rockstars?
I am actually. Like one of my top reads, like one of my top favorite reads is actually a Rockstar romance. So
Which one?
The Devil and the Deep Blue Sea by Elizabeth O'Rourke. It has everything. She's a rock star romance. She's on vacation with she's supposed to be on vacation with her on again, off again, like fling situation of a guitarist in her band, and he gets arrested and winds up leaving her to her own devices with his brother and his parents on vacation on this destination vacation in Hawaii. It's a whole thing. It's an enemies to lovers situation. She winds up falling in love with his brother. It's really good. They go on a backpacking trip on like this iconic Hawaiian trail that's like incredibly famous, and I just love that it was featured in a book. It's one of my favorite.
Awesome. I didn't realize that you loved Rockstars that much. The rest of us, we love the Rockstars, right? Like,
yeah.
Heather's like a no, and Leah, I think we converted her, you guys.
I think Leah's just willing to read almost anything at this point.
Well,
what she's saying.
I think we might have broke Leah a little bit, you guys. I think the podcast in life broke Leah. Because honestly, 5 years ago, if I had told you, hey, Leah's going to read a cheating romance,
Right?
everyone would have been like, she's being held hostage. Go save her. Um, and the Elizabeth O'Rourke book is wrong sibling, right? Right time.
Yeah,
Uh,
pretty much.
yeah. So let's just talk about some of our underrated favorite Rockstar romances, because I think we all have ones on our list that either are on our TBR because we did see someone read it or we came across it when we were doing research for this episode, or they're ones that we've read that we love, but no one ever talks about them. So, Jenni, what are some of your underrated Rockstar romances?
So I have to like Allie Styles,
Always Allie
right,
Styles.
Allie. I mean, almost all of her books contain at least one musician, but Night Shift's Black was her first book. It was not like it didn't follow the rules of a romance because you get the female's point of view and then another male who is not the female's love interest point of view. But like it deals with some really deep depression and how community helps you get out of that. And she is actually publishing his point of view for the 10th anniversary coming up. So in June, I think it's June 12th, the drummer releases. So that's Casey's point of view. So you see it from his side, both like both his relationship with Callie, the heroine, and his relationship with Luke, who is like the other guy that you got.
Interesting. What about you, Amanda? What's one of your underrated picks that you wish either is on your TBR or one that you read that you're like, why don't people read this?
I think a lot of mine are I have that are like, like the Rockstar one-off and like in a series of other, I do a lot of those, and I think one of my favorites is The Rookie and the Rockstar by Jiffy Kate.
Yeah.
It's in her New Orleans Revelers series. It's Bo Bennett and Lola Carradine, and you all know, I mean, it's been a minute since I've spoken about my love for Bo.
I was gonna say, would you like to write poetry to Bo tonight?
Yeah, maybe later. I get a glass of wine in me, you never know.
She's gonna write her own song.
They have like such they meet at like an event that she's performing at. He's new to the baseball team and just kind of like, I don't know. I thought their relationship was a lot of fun. It was fresh. They're both in the spotlight, but she's been in the spotlight a lot longer. He's navigating, being a professional baseball player now. And I thought it was like a really good book. And if you guys haven't read that series, I highly recommend it.
So I will say it's funny that you mentioned the series with the one-off Rockstar kind of thing, because that is how I found Carrie Elks. So 2 years ago, we did the episode, Jenni and I built our dream rock bands out of our hero. Like, we built our dream rock bands, and each position and a manager. And I read Take Me Home by Carrie Elks in prep for that. And she had been on my radar a little bit because I read book 9 in the Angel Sands, but I hadn't gone back. And then it was like, oh, but it was also that, and it's a whole Rockstar series, but Jay Salmon. That's how I found her, was, again, her Rockstars. But it's that one-off but for Carrie Elks, it was absolutely Take Me Home. And you had Grayson, and I can't think of her name, but it was kind of a wrong sibling again. He had been in a relationship with her older sister, and he fell in love with her. It's so good. It's my favorite. I love that series. The Heartbreak Brothers. What about you, Lindsey? What's an underrated Rockstar romance for you?
Okay, so it's interesting you mentioned the Heartbreak Brothers. I actually just sent that book to a friend.
Oh, yeah?
book box. Like she was looking for romance books that she might, well, she wasn't looking for. She sent me a bunch of yarn and I sent her this book and I was like, that one's definitely going in there. So I sent her that one, but I actually was gonna say like Julia Wolf, she writes a lot of Rockstar romances. And
Yes.
like you had that summer a couple years ago where you read like a bunch of her Rockstar romances.
I was in
And we
prep
never
for that
actually talked about
episode.
it, I don't think. But like I read, I don't know, does she only write Rockstars? Because I
She's
think she had
moved
at least
on.
like 10.
She kind of had, so I actually put her in my doc here. She had 3 different Rockstar series and then a duet series. She had her Blue is the Color, Unrequited Love, Seasons of Change, and then there was the Built to Fall, which was kind of its standalone. Um, and they were all interconnected, but she spun off to Billionaires. And I actually just read one of her new Billionaires, and it was really good. Um,
The
they meet in,
covers for that series are gorgeous. Like I keep seeing her roll them out and I'm like, I need to get back to her because I read the one that we all read together and I'm
yeah.
just like, I just haven't gotten back, but she's on my list.
So,
I
yeah,
like deep dived her a while ago for summer. I think it was like a summer reading challenge or
yeah.
something. And like I was like, oh, all of her books will hit like literally everything on here.
Well, and
But yeah, I deep dived her. I like I'm not gonna recommend a specific one because like honestly, like just read all of them.
yeah.
Any series, start at the beginning, like piece them out.
Well,
They're
but see,
all
I didn't do that. I read all over those books and actually Faded in Bloom. I read that book. It is the slowest of slow burns. Like it gets spicy at like 55% where they're mutually start masturbating. And it is friends to lovers. He has friend zoned her and she has had a crush. They're neighbors. Um, it's an age gap, but it's like it's just one of those books that the chemistry and the tension is just so good. And he, of course, is the reformed playboy, which I love that in a rock star. I love when he
Yeah.
goes from being a bit of a man whore to like, she's my girl. This is my person. Um, but that book, I remember reading that book, and I think it was you, Jenny. I said, it ended up being a book of the year for me. And I was like,
Yeah.
A Friends to Lovers book is one of my top reads of the year.
which is I think that might have been like one of the things that put her on my radar was that you kept recommending all of her books and you were
Yeah.
like, I don't like these tropes.
Yeah.
You were like, but I love her books.
Well, and her I think Blue is the Color. Her book either Watch Me Unravel or Under the Bridge. It is definitely autistic coded. And she has anxiety and he is just the drummer and kind of wants to, you know, take out the noise in his life. And it's just one of those books that these are characters that you think, okay, yeah, this is why I read romance is these characters, you know, that the odd ducks, you know, she makes a living making cosplay anime costumes for people. And I'm just like,
That's
okay,
fun.
That's fair.
right?
Yeah. Nice.
What is the one where she like goes on he's at, I think in his hometown at a concert they're doing and he meets her at the concert and then like brings her on tour, I think as like his PR assistant. That one I liked a lot.
I don't know which one.
That one is.
Oh, that one might be.
There's so many.
Is that in unrequited? That might be unrequited. That might be. I don't know. Stone Cold Notes is one they meet on tour, and they meet like when the band's first starting out. Like they're in the white van doing the
like,
tour, and
yeah.
they meet at a concert. And they become pen pals, and then years later, he finds out she had a child. He's been secretly stalking her for like 5 years. And he arranges for her to have a job at the record label. It's a lot. Oh, Jen Ellen thinks that the one you're thinking of, Lindsey, is Built to Fall.
I think that might
And
be
she's
it.
plus size, and he's
Yes.
older. Oh my God, that book. That book.
Looking it up, but I think so.
The spice in that book. Oh my goodness. Okay, what's some other underrated ones? You got
Well,
any-
we were talking about Julia Wolf. There's the Hope and Harmony. It's a music romance anthology. And a lot of the authors like Janie Diamond that we read last week, Chanel Bliss,
Oh, that was through
Various
Pages
Wild.
and
Yeah,
Vine, and
like it
Kaylee
benefit. It is
Winters, I think, organized that.
It's that new.
okay.
Is that new?
It came out in
last-
January.
Yeah.
What's it called again?
Hope and Harmony.
Pages
And
and Vine put it out, and I think it raised money for music education in schools.
Yeah, Music Cares. It's kind of like a recording academy help like struggling artists.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I'm all for it.
And it's also paid. So.
Yep, it is.
Okay, so let's just keep throwing out books here, guys. What rock stars should people be reading? Because I have a dream for a romance I haven't found.
And Jude and Ronnie's proposal stories in that anthology from the Dirty Like Me series.
Oh, okay.
Jude's the bodyguard for
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Because so as I was looking at my recs, I want a nightclub singer romance. Does anyone have one?
There was one, but she's not like a nightclub singer at all. It's one of the Mindy McKinley books.
Oh,
where
yes.
she's a teacher by day and then she's a nightclub singer at night.
Yes.
But like that's not her.
It's the first book in her.
Not really like a rock star, but she does like the nightclub singing.
And he plays the bass, or he plays the saxophone or something.
Yeah.
Or is he the cabinet guy?
I can't remember. It's been a long time since I've read that one. It's been like 5 years since I've read that one.
No, I don't blame you.
There's another one, and I can't remember what it is, but she's a nightclub singer, and I don't remember, and I obviously didn't mark it on my Goodreads because it didn't come up in my
Yeah, it's At Last by Mindy McKinley.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, and there's a different one I'm thinking of, and I can't remember it, but I'll think of it at some point.
Yeah. Which is
go ahead.
The idea of like, kind of that lounge singer, that the kind of the oh my gosh, Baker. The 1920s, the 1920s jazz singer.
Etta James? No.
Well, it could be Etta James.
Jazz.
It'll come to me in a second. My brain just went
because like
fart.
I thought about Real when you said like nightclub singer, but
yeah,
that is definitely not Rockstar.
It is not. It is not. Anyway, what other books or authors do you have that write rock stars? Josephine Baker. Josephine Baker.
Oh, Josephine Baker. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Kind of a modern day Josephine Baker retelling.
Yeah.
I think would be amazing. Anyway, I told you it'd come to me in a minute. What else do you have?
Totally like off subject. I also like it when they're no longer a rock star. So in Come As You Are by Jess K. Hardy, it's Bluebird Basin book 1. It's Madigan and Ashley, and Madigan is actually, he was in a very kind of like, seems like a punk almost metal band when he was younger and got out for addiction reasons, and he now runs like a sober home.
Interesting.
And he was very famous, so she like eventually like recognizes him and stuff, and she's trying to keep her ski resort open. They kind of band together. He needs somewhere for the guys in the sober home to work, and she needs help around, the resort, and they kind of come together to save the resort. It's also their older characters, like he's 40 or she's 46, he's 53. I really like that series a lot so far. Like that was book 1, and book 2 I think is a former bandmate or another musician that he knows, so that one is also musician, and she just released a new one, and I'm really hoping to get back to that at some point. I like it a lot.
Stay off NetGalley, Amanda. You'll find him.
I know, right? I can't. Some of these I didn't sign up for. They were just sent to me.
I know nothing about that. But as you're talking about older characters, LB Dunbar, her book Aftercare, they're older, and he's a former professional drummer and was a part of a rock band and is now managing his niece's band. And they meet by chance at a concert, and she's a breast cancer survivor.
Oh yeah, I've had that one on my TBR for forever. Like I
So
have a
good.
whole list like from when you guys built a band and like another episode that I'm getting like one a year at this point. It's like I was so happy we did this because I actually got like 3 books that I hadn't read before. So I was like, all right.
Excellent. Lindsey, what do you got? Do you got another underrated or Rockstar Romance you think more people should read?
I don't know that it's underrated, but I think A.L. Jackson doesn't get enough credit for her Rockstar Romances. Like her Small Towns really took
That's
off,
fair.
and she
Yeah.
kind of moved away from the rock stars. But like her books, her Redemption Hills and her Falling Stars series were what really got me hooked on rock stars, specifically the way she writes it. Like she is really good at like putting you in the scene. Her imagery is really fantastic, and her writing just generally tends to pack a punch. She's one of the writers who has not really changed her writing style very much with like the TikTok trends. And like she's really good at like weaving very dark vibes and themes into the book without making it actually dark. So it's like you could read it if you struggle with dark romance and prefer like contemporary. It's firmly in contemporary, but there's also like light suspense elements in it too. And like those books just kind of have everything. And I really like the Falling Stars series. That one is based in, I think, Savannah, Georgia the whole time.
Yeah.
And I think we talked to her one time and she was like, I've never even been there. And I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
you wrote it so spot on that like I could not believe she'd never been there. Like she's a phenomenal writer, and her rock stars are really where she shines.
I agree with you. A.L. Jackson, Rockstars, like Reese is still one of my favorite of her heroes, and he's the last book in that
Yeah,
Kiss the Stars
yeah.
series, and just, ugh,
Yeah, I mean her writing
Like,
style is so
Stars.
lyrical.
Right.
Yeah.
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 Jenni, you've got another one for us?
J.A. Owenby, she has
Yeah.
a whole what is it? The Love and Corruption or Love and Ruin is the series. Love and Corruption was the book I had. That was he was the bodyguard in that one. But like it does go over like the same couple for multiple books, but the suspense, the drama, the like a lot of shit happens to these people, like
Yeah.
a lot. Like there's like trauma, then there's like natural disasters, there's some violence, like
Yeah.
yeah.
So one that I talk about, and I am going to butcher the last name. I'm pretty convinced that I've not said this last name correctly in the 3 years since I read them, but that is L.M. Dalglish. Dalglish.
Dalglish. I don't know if that's how you say it. That's how it looks.
Danglish is what I've said for like 7 times, and there's not like a G in it, except at the very, well, I guess in the middle there.
There's no
It's like
N.
in the middle.
Anyway, she has this Fractured Heart series, and it's so flippin' good. And if you like that tension of being on the tour bus, and I don't feel like we got a ton of tour bus this time. Like it was a little bit in the Britt Benson book, a little bit in Lilac.
We're just forgetting everything we read in that book. So
The Britt Benson book, she has a lot more of it in her third one in that series. But the third one is not just like tour bus, it's more like how they tour. So like they are in different cities and stuff like that. So it's like a really good, I would say like a view on big time band. Like the third book I would say is like a good view on like how that transpires for like a big time band who's like
Yeah.
at a Taylor Swift style level.
like a headlining band
Like
stadium
they're
tour.
not sleeping in their bus each night.
No. No, no,
No.
no.
Well, Fractured Stars, she Fractured Rockstar, she's hired to be the tour photographer, and
Oh,
he's the
nice.
lead singer, and it's yeah, everybody's a little broken. No one's really put together quite. But man, love, and I think what I liked about this book is the romance didn't fix them. They were still a little broken in the end, but they were just broken together. So it was, I really enjoyed that series. There's a one-off from it, and then she started writing a billionaire series, but her Rockstars, 10 out of 10 recommend. Um, do we have any others? Anybody have any other underrated ones they feel? Because I have more. I could keep going.
Wasn't
I
it
have
one-
I have like a just one. Did you say something, Jenny?
No, it was
Sorry,
Lindsay.
I'm
You go,
Oh,
Amanda, and
you
then we
can
can
go.
do
okay.
Lindsay.
Sorry, I think I'm like breaking up, so I couldn't hear. I have 5 Weeks by Danica Dark on there. It's like a PNR.
Oh,
It's in the 7 series, book 3. Jericho is a rock star. He's actually kind of like a fallen rock star. His band is broken up due to several issues. Many of them are Jericho's fault. His heroine is Isabel. They were friends when they were younger. They're both shifters. She's back in town. She's actually like a lone wolf. Um, there's a lot of stuff going on here. The like outside forces, there's kidnapping. They are no longer friends when they meet back up. There's a lot of like they have a lot of tension. Like I really like the series overall as like a paranormal series, but he's the only rock star, but it's like him and his like 6 brothers. So but I
love
like
that.
that one a lot.
Okay, Lindsay, what were you going to say? What else do you have on your list?
I thought one of the Bad Brothers was a rock
They
star, but
are.
I may be wrong.
Nope, there's two, the twin
To
brothers, Bad Luck and Bad Mojo.
Mojo.
Okay. Yeah, okay. That's what I thought. I thought there was at least one, but yeah, okay. I really like those. Those are cute. That whole series. It's not really cute. It's I don't know how to describe it. It's really good.
Those Bad Brothers are sexy, great
Yeah.
contemporary. They are, and I don't even want to say like there's a guilty pleasure read, but it's one of those that you pick up. It's sexier than mac and cheese,
Yeah.
but it's not just all set. It's not, erotica. Like
But they're
there's
like edgy. They're
yeah.
like
Yeah.
very with an edginess to them.
So it's like maybe if you like, I don't know, put some hamburger taco meat in your mac and
We
cheese.
I
it's the
was gonna
spicy
say
ramen.
the
We
truffle.
Spicy
Yeah, the
ramen.
spicy
decided,
ramen.
yeah, we decided last week it was spicy ramen.
Spicy ramen. Those books are like spicy ramen. Lindsay's like losing it now.
Or it's just like New Mexican mac and cheese. They put green chili in it and it is just spicy.
There you
Yeah.
go.
There you go.
Jenny, do you have another series or author you think more people need to read that's Rockstar?
So again, these are like some of my favorite authors that I always say, but Kelsey Kingsley, she has a lot of Rockstar books. She has a Rockstar series, but this one's a standalone called Forget the Stars. And he actually has ulcerative colitis and he's a lead guitar um player. So like he's trying to
Oh wow.
go on
Yeah.
tour and manage his illness. Like he's struggling with like getting it in remission and staying there. So his friend Molly kind of goes to help support him.
Julie Criss, Kriss. She has her Road Kings series, and book 1 is called Duet. And I'm telling you guys, these books are so good. And again, kind of like the Fractured Heart series, these people are broken. So the band was like kind of an underrated rock band. They were always the opening act. They never had like their big stadium billboard, but they had like really devout fans. And a guy comes along who has a lot of money, who finds out, well, he has a connection to the band, but I don't want to ruin it because that plays into all the stories. But he decides to give them their stadium tour, to give them their big tour, their big moment, to shine, to revive things. And in book one in Duet, she's a piano teacher. And she actually, on the weekends, earns money playing with a cover band. And he happens to stumble into the bar that she's playing at, and she does one of his songs, does a cover of it. And he is like, huh, interesting. You sing it better than I sing it. And they have this really kind of awkward meet cute because she's like rearranged his biggest hit that he wrote. But it's like kind of getting that encore, that second chance to be what you wanted to be the first time but didn't get there. And she has to go from being the quiet piano teacher to going on tour with him, or the girlfriend of a rock star. But all of the heroes, of the members of the band, everybody has a backstory. Everybody's got work to do. One of the guys, his wife divorced him, and he has a teenage daughter that they co-parent together. And then one of the guys has struggled with his sobriety. And anyway, read this series. It's in Kindle Unlimited. It's one of those that I just don't think people talk about enough. And Julie Chris writes a really good story with really strong characters and great chemistry.
That was like on the top of my list of hopefuls to get to this month. That didn't happen. I've had that one on my list since you were talking about them forever ago, but one day.
Well,
I
when you
promise.
read it, we'll do a quick shot. I'll reread it
Okay.
with you, and we'll do a quick shot on it for everybody. So, okay, what other ones do we have? Any?
So I really had like two more, and they go together.
Go for
it. It was in the middle of Melissa Foster's like Braden Montgomery like saga series that's like 20 books. She has Rocked by Love and then Falling for Mr. Bad. So the first one is Johnny Bad and Jillian Braden. He fronts. He's the lead singer of a band. And this one I like a lot. He finds out it's like a secret kid, like an older child, that comes on the scene. And so he has to kind of like get out of the public eye. Jillian is like a wardrobe designer, and they've been trying to nail down like his wardrobe for the next tour, and she ends up going with him, and they figure out the situation together, all while having like really good chemistry. And then the second book is Johnny's brother, Kane Bad, who's his manager. And while he's, away, he discovers Sable Montgomery, like playing in a small town. She's very reluctant rock star and doesn't really want anything to do with the life. So it's interesting seeing him kind of like talk her into this. And she's like, trying to be respectful of the fact that her band wants this kind of break. She doesn't really want it. She's also a mechanic like during the day, which I loved. But those two books, like back to back in the middle of that series, like I liked a lot. And I think Melissa Foster's son like is a musician, like singer, so he helps her a lot with some of the stuff. And I think he even like records tracks for her on sometimes for like original music. So
That's so
I always
cool.
find that interesting.
Yeah. What do you got, Lindsay?
I think the like people being cognitive of how music works definitely shows.
Yeah, you get your better ones, the ones that understand music or lyrics. And yeah. What do you got, Lindsay?
I've got Lily Valenti's The Bangover series. That one starts with a really cute book. It's in Vegas. That one is kind of like one of the mac and cheese reads for me, because it's a best friends to lover situation. She's like a very reclusive author. I think she's a horror author, not like a romance author, which is slightly different. It's a very old series. I think it's been out for at least 5 years now, because I haven't read. It's been a long time since I've read these. But it's really cute. There's like a slight suspense element to it. Yeah.
She writes fun books.
She does.
It's very fun. It's super light. Anyway, her best friend is a rock star, and they go to Vegas, and things progress from there. Did you just want me to go through like the rest of what I've got?
Yeah, throw them out there.
Penny Reed, her Elements of Chemistry series is like a rise to music situation, so it's like before she's a rock star, but like that's an interesting progression. But really, like the Laws of Physics, the second series, that's a weird series because it's like they're trilogies, but it's also like a series that's like the second series is connected to the first. So it's not like it's independent, but it's also not, because like the first one is her book. The first one is Caitlin's book, and then the next series features Abram, and Abram is her guitarist. So nothing is really like disconnected, but the Laws of Physics is very much more music forward because he's got his career off the ground. I really like how she pairs science and music in these books. And just like they're really good.
Lindsey, is
What
Jenny
else? I
like,
have
or Jenny, is Lindsey stealing your list over there?
Oh no, no.
Jenny's got books
God.
for days.
I do. Like, oh my gosh, I have so many books.
I told you. Okay, Lindsey, what else do you got?
Okay, and then I just got like some one-off single books that I remembered reading and actually liked them. So Kay Bromberg's Sweet Regret. I think if I'm not wrong, she's a single mom situation. I can't remember entirely, but I remember liking that book and being really jealous of all the people who got the special edition of it.
I do have that. I have one. I have one. I don't know if it's the one you're talking about, but I got the one that came in that box that was with the Dirty Like Me. It's really pretty.
Yeah, that box, I'm very jealous about that. Anyway, it's my own fault for not doing it.
We all have buyer's regret, though, when it comes to the special
Yeah.
editions.
I always do,
Right.
but I also have like an insane amount of restraint, I would say.
I
And
do
then
not have
afterwards,
that.
you guys are all like, I got the special edition. I'm like, I'm gonna go rage buy myself a fancy coffee now.
Or you could just do what I do and buy like the fancy espresso machine and be like, fancy coffee and a
Okay,
book
I
problem.
have one though. I have an espresso machine. I want my $7 coffee.
That's
It's insane. Coffee is insane here. Anyway, the next one I have is Hideaway Heart by Melanie Harlow. She's a country music star, so not a rock star in particular. And she's in a bodyguard situation. I was surprised. I quit Melanie Harlow. I read this book because I went into like oh my God, I actually get Hoopla downloads, Stupor, and I was just like, what do you recommend? And that was on there. And I read it and I was like, oh, this is awesome. I was like, this is actually one of the better books, one of the best books Melanie Harlow has written, which I was really surprised about. And it was the best one she's written since her Call
Cloverleaf
Me
Farms.
series. What is that one? The Drive Me Wild.
Oh,
Call Me
Bellamy Creek. Bellamy
Yeah,
Creek.
that one.
Yeah.
Which is my favorite. So I was really surprised about that. She is a rock star. He is doing his best friend a favor because his best friend saved his life when they were in war. And now he is her bodyguard. And like the first night in the cabin, she's like, you can't come in here. You have to sleep outside. You will use the bathroom outside. You like, I'm gonna feed you like a dog. Like that. She is sassy and pissed that he is ruining her quiet time.
Wow.
It's actually like one of the more comedic books she has
There we
written
go.
too. So anyway, really surprised with that one.
Give us 3, Jenny, and then I'll do some to finish up here.
Okay.
If not, this is
Oh.
going to be like a 3-hour episode.
Yeah, I
done.
know. I'm like, shoot. Detour by Casey Shea.
That's a good one.
Off the Track Records. She has the whole series, but the band is called Three Ugly Guys, and
It's like 22 goats.
they are a little ugly, like personality. Yes, I mean they are definitely like stereotypical rockers that find their girl. Yeah.
Paralyzed by the number of
Saving
choices.
Tate. Yes, I am. Saving Tate by Anna Edwards. This is actually a bioawakening. Boston's only had female partners before, but like is intrigued by the producer and their like as they share their traumas, their relationship evolves. Let's see what else. Oh, I got a Melanie Moreland book.
Yeah, go for it.
Heartstrings. He's like the subway guitar
Busker.
player, and yeah, and like it's the only thing that like calms her down at the end of the day, and so they kind of like help each other in life, and
Fun.
it's a Melanie book, so
You know,
it's heartwarming.
Yeah.
Mac
It is
and
mac and cheese. Okay, so multi-author series Hush Notes, Lies and Lullaby by Serena Bowen, Muses and Melodies by Rebecca Yaros, and then Devney Perry has one in there that I didn't write that title down. I really liked that series the three of them wrote. Muses and Melodies is my favorite of the three. And it's interesting because Devney's book, which is book 2, it's a female drummer.
Oh,
So,
nice.
adds a little bit of that into it. I mentioned her 2 weeks ago, Pushing Daisies by Heather Young Nicholas. This is a family that's kind of a rock star, and their oldest brother is managing them, and their younger sister comes along on tour. It's really fun. You get a lot of the tour bus, the city to city, watching the fandom grow kind of thing. And we've mentioned Ophelia Martinez in her Industrial November. Those are emotional, edgier rocker romances. And then we didn't talk about her. And we didn't do one of her books, but she's a staple of the Rockstars, and that's Kylie Scott.
Oh yeah, I think we mentioned her, like, if you like this book, read this, like in the first couple episodes. Yeah.
But, we didn't pick a Kylie Scott book. She's really, that's how Kylie Scott came onto the market, was with, Lick, Play, Lead, Deep, with that first Rockstar series in 2013. So, and those books do still hold up.
Yeah, and I think it was just kind of like we were mentioning it as an aside because I think everybody knows we like Kylie Scott.
And then I have so many one-offs. Devney Perry, the book Bribe, she's a rock star she's a country music star kind of running and hiding out. Brittany Cherry, she was our book club pick in April, but she has Rockstars. I think the mixtape is still her best book.
Yeah, love the mixtape.
Yeah. There are so many. So we did do an episode, like I said, a couple years ago where we built a rock band. That's in our backlist catalog. And then we will put these titles in our on the shelf show notes at buzzingaboutromance.com. But if we didn't mention a Rockstar book that you love, that you think needs more hype on it, like I see Jen Ellen mentions Olivia Cunning's Sinners on Tour series. That series is spicy. Like, that is ramen spicy ramen, like, with, like, the 4 little flames next to the package. That is spicy. Kind of Cassandra Robbins, very spicy, but hers are angsty. But yeah, if you have a book that you want to, is a rock star that you think should be on our radar, let us know. Again, in all of the episodes through the month of April, we listed different books. Like, we didn't touch on Zio Axelrod's books tonight. There's tons out there. So many rock stars. Did I forget someone else? No. I know. It's like a list of 50. And we didn't even talk about, like, we could do a whole episode of rock stars in the one-off, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Well, and I have a whole list. Like, I didn't even go to my TBR list, and almost all of those are series.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Because, like, we didn't talk about Krista Sandor. She has the Nanny and the Heartthrob. We didn't talk about Kelly Jameson. She has Playing Hurt. Like, there are so many. I think Serena Bowen has one in her hockey series, her Brooklyn hockey series, that she's a pop star.
probably, and then like Juliana Stone, like
Yeah,
there's so many that
so
are
many.
one-offs, and I mean, and that's a lot of how I consume mine. So it's like,
Maybe we need to do the one-off series.
but we're gonna talk more about like rock stars and stuff soon.
I think we'll be back with more Rockstars probably in our Wednesday lineups in the
There's
future.
also like the whole Rockstar paranormal element. Like there's a
Yeah,
lot of like paranormal Rockstar.
Renee Rose has some, like a lot of people. Yeah, there's a lot of one-offs in paranormal.
Okay. I guess we'll be back with more Rockstars. Okay, like I said, you can find a list of the books we talked about on our on the shelf show notes. But guess what time it is, everybody? Guess what time? It's that time for book
Book.
of the week. Maybe on our 5th anniversary, we'll actually get a real echo and not sound like we're ridiculous. What are the chances? Are we taking bets? Jenni, what's your book of the week?
I am currently reading None the Wiser, Nun, Nun,
Oh,
because
that's the
they are, yeah, because they're former nuns or sisters. The Bad Habit Club, book number 2. It's a Smarty Pants by Lisa Sharp, and apparently the male character gets kidnapped multiple times, and I've just met him, and he is described as a large dad bod. So I'm like, this is like somebody kidnapping my husband.
which you could do
That
with a
wouldn't be
meatball
easy to.
sandwich.
Well, that's what I was like. If you were like, hey, I got this van full of cheese.
Listen, I have a bottle of bourbon and some cheese. Do you want to go for a ride? Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
You can play video games. Okay, let's go.
Yeah. Yeah. But this guy seems to have, like, he has come into a lot of money recently. And he seems to have a kind heart, and I'm guessing that's how he gets it.
You will have to let us know how this goes
Yeah.
because I need to
Yeah.
know how dude gets kidnapped a couple times.
Right.
Amanda, what's your book of the week?
My book of the week is A Curse Carved in Bone by Danielle L. Jensen. This comes out on May 13th. It is the conclusion to her saga of the Unfated duology. So it's book 2. There's only going to be 2 books. So if you're wanting to try her out, this is a good way to do it with just 2. This is Norse-inspired fantasy. There's a lot of Vikings. There's a lot of fighting. The gods get involved. It revolves around a lot of like fate and choices and how you can change your fate. The main characters are Freya and Bjorn. In the first book, you only get Freya's point of view, so I was like really excited to get Bjorn's point of view, like both of their points of view in this portion of the story. I liked it a lot. It's pretty like epic, like Viking, everything you want from a Viking like story. And so, the romance is like a little bit, played down in comparison to some of the other things going on, but it's definitely there. So, but I like it a lot. If you are interested in a Viking fantasy, you have time
And
to read book 1 before book
was
2
this
comes
your
out.
first publisher book mail?
Maybe.
She got pretty special
did.
editions from the publisher with sprayed edges of both
I
books.
did. Yeah, from Del Rey Books, and they're very, very pretty. Nice, like front covers, like Freya features in both, and then you open them up and they're embossed kind of like hardcovers with the Tree of Life, which plays into their, and it's a different name in the Norse mythology, but I can't pronounce it, so I'm not going to try.
So this was again, let's publicist from TradPub sending us book and review requests, and Amanda was not sad.
No, I was not, because I've had her on my radar for a long time, and she has her Bridge Kingdom series books, but they're longer, and I was like kind of like hesitant to get into that. But then when I found out this one was coming out and they asked us if we wanted to review it, and I was like, yes, please.
Excellent. Lindsey, what's your book of the week?
Formula Chance by Sawyer Bennett. I only waited forever to get this in Hoopla, like from my library. It was very, very fortunate to have had Hoopla luck the last week. So I read it. It was so good. It's so good. Okay, one of my favorite. So basically, um, they are ex-fiancés. The female main character and the male main character are ex-fiancés. Um, she is his lead and like strategy engineer, and he is the race car driver. They're on Brian Norcross's racing team, Titans Racing, and I really like it. Like there's a when it gets to like the main conflict playing out in the book, I like that she is not given any coddling. She's given tough love from a lot of different characters, and I really like the way it is handled. I like the way it's played out. I like that we see someone being held accountable for like the responsibility that comes with being a female in a male dominated industry. I really just loved this book. I liked it a lot better than the first one. The first one was a little bit more recycled trope, but I felt like this one was very fresh for Formula One. Just because like I've read a ton of Formula One books over the last couple years. So like I've mentioned before that like the plots of them just start to be really similar, and this one was very standout. It was very good. Mac and cheese read, really solid.
I
Start
think
to
these are
finish.
still in KU too. I think you can eyeball read in KU.
Yeah.
Okay, so my book of the week, it releases May 20th. It is called Not Safe for Work by Nisha J. Tooley. This is her first foray into contemporary. She has a huge romantasy fantasy backlist. And I was gifted an ARC from Forever Publishing, and this is Trishera and Rafe. They're co-workers. Trishera is an engineer working in a very male-dominated company and world, and the two of them are sent on this work training retreat for 3 weeks to Hawaii. Rafe is the boss's son, and Trishera is just trying to climb the ladder in this engineering firm that she works for, and it's really just stick in the good old boys club. And anyway, it ends up being one bed. They are stuck together in the honeymoon suite because it's several different of the firms. The engineering firm have sent lots of people for this event and everything. Anyway, funny and snarky. The writing was phenomenal. I listened to the audiobook. It is single POV, but 10 out of 10, I recommend this, especially if you are looking for women in STEM, but kind of where things aren't just picture perfect easy for them, especially outside of academia. I think sometimes we get a lot of STEM romances that they're in academia, and in this case, she's not. She is in the corporate world working it, and she is frustrated AF. But I really liked her. It was so good. Anyway, so that's my book of the week. Right now, if you follow us on Instagram or you read our newsletter today, we are having a huge spring giveaway. It is happening now through May 7th to help celebrate some of our favorite releases and authors from this spring. Make sure you followed us over on Instagram at Buzzing About Romance. And we're giving away 8 paperbacks to one lucky winner. Participating authors are Sawyer Bennett, Lainey Davis, Kendall, Hale, Piper Rain, Danica Flynn, Carrie Elks, Carrie Ann Ryan, and Aaron Nicholas. And all of them will be signed. Carrie Elks is a book plate. But swag, you guys, this giveaway. So if you didn't open our newsletter, there's a chance to get your name in for a chance to win from our newsletter, but you can also follow us over on Instagram for your chance to win. But yeah, I'm kind of jealous because I would like these paperbacks.
Right?
I'm like, there's some good ones. Patreon update. We are everybody's celebrating a year in the Hive is Aaron and Bonnie. Thanks for being a part of Buzzing About Romance Patreon. We could not do this without you. Celebrating 3 years in the Hive is our very own Amanda. And then Kimberly, thank you again for your support. Amanda's like, wait, when do I get off this train?
Oh,
And the
it's like
answer is
3 years. I was like,
never.
okay.
you're
It just keeps on going. You don't get
you
off.
don't get off.
I'm good.
And then
I'm good.
Shauna is celebrating 4 years. Again, thank you to everyone for all of your support and supporting the podcast. We could not do this without you. We are getting things ready for summer reading. It will start May 25th. Make sure you watch our newsletter, watch our website. We're ironing out the final details and getting ready to post all of that. Make sure you are signed up for our newsletter and join our Discord. You will get all the announcements. Swag Pack sponsoring author for May is author Maud Winters. Swag Packs went out in the mail over the weekend, so make sure you checking your mailbox this week. And for a list of books we talked about this weekend, please visit our On the Shelf show notes at buzzingaboutromance.com. We'll be back here Wednesday night with our review episode of The Secret to a Southern Wedding by Sanithia Williams. Sanithia Williams. You guys, we asked her for like the pronunciation of her name and everything, right? If I had just started the audiobook, we'd have had it. But it's fine. We know how to say it. We apologize.
She was very kind about it.
She was very
Yes.
kind. So we apologize for our previous mispronunciations. And of course, we'll be back next Sunday to bring you more books to fill up your TBR. If you love this episode, please leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. Share it with your friends. Your support helps us bring you more exciting content each and every week. Thanks everybody for hanging out and rocking out with Rockstars.
Yes, thank you.
Anyway, until next time, everyone, happy reading.
Bye.